All right, let's jump right in. The world set itself a huge, ambitious goal to completely end hunger by 2030. This is the UN's second Sustainable Development Goal, or SDG 2, and it's a mission to achieve something they call zero hunger.
And at its heart, the goal is actually really simple and honestly beautiful. It's about making sure every single person, especially the most vulnerable among us, can get safe, nutritious food all year round. It's this powerful vision of a world where no one has to go hungry.
But here's the tough reality check. We are not even close to hitting that target. In 2022, a staggering 783 million people faced hunger. That number alone tells you just how far we have to go.
But what's really alarming here is the direction we're headed. See, this isn't a problem that's just getting better too slowly. No, since 2015, it's actually been getting worse. The pandemic, of course, caused this massive spike, and by 2022, we were back to hunger levels we hadn't seen in almost 20 years. We are literally going backward.
So that brings us to the first big question we need to tackle. We have to ask, why? Why are we losing ground in what is one of the most important fights we have? What's pushing the world in the completely wrong direction?
And to figure out why we're slipping, you have to look at the powerful forces at play here. And these aren't simple problems, They're complex, they're all connected, and they are creating a perfect storm for food insecurity across the globe.
And when you look into it, you see three major culprits that keep coming up again and again. You've got conflict, which just shatters supply chains and forces people from their homes. You've got climate change, which is absolutely devastating to agriculture. And then you have economic downturns, which can suddenly make food unaffordable for millions. It's a brutal combination.
And this isn't some abstract theory. To see the real human cost, just look at what happened in the Horn of Africa. The worst drought in a generation meant that up to 20 million people had no idea where their next meal was coming from. That's a direct line from climate change to an empty plate.
And this crisis, it goes way beyond just hunger. It's about malnutrition, which has these terrible lifelong effects, especially on kids. We're talking about nearly 150 million children under fives whose bodies and brains aren't developing properly because of stunting. And another 45 million are suffering from what's called wasting, which is a truly life-threatening condition.
Okay, so we've established there's this huge, growing hunger crisis. But here is where the whole story takes a really sharp turn. There's this unbelievable paradox, a shocking disconnect, right at the heart of our food system that honestly changes everything.
It makes you ask a pretty simple question, right? With so many people starving, you'd think the basic problem is that we just don't have enough food to go around, a problem of scarcity. But is that what's really going on?
Well, here's the answer, and you might want to sit down for this. 1 billion. That is a conservative estimate of how many perfectly good edible meals are thrown out in homes around the world every single day. Just let that sink in for a second. And this is that paradox laid bare. On one side, you have 783 million hungry people. On the other side, 1 billion meals are tossed in the trash every day. The math here is as simple as it is devastating. We waste more than enough food daily to feed every single hungry person on this planet.
And the tragedy just keeps compounding. This isn't just a humanitarian catastrophe, it's an environmental one too. All the food we grow, ship, and then just throw away is responsible for up to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So get this, our food waste isn't just failing hungry people, it's actively fueling the very climate change that makes hunger worse. It's a vicious cycle.
Now, this is a pretty grim picture, I know, but it is not hopeless. In fact, understanding the real scale of the problem, and especially this paradox of waste, it actually shows us exactly where we can and must act. So how do we get back on track?
Well, there's no silver bullet here. The solution has to be about transforming our entire food system from the ground up. That means making our agriculture more sustainable, doubling the productivity of small-scale farmers, empowering women in agriculture who are so often the backbone of it all, and investing in basic rural infrastructure. It's a big lift.
And a key way to make this all happen is through something called a public-private partnership, or a PPP. The idea is really simple. No one group can solve a problem this huge on its own. So these partnerships get everyone, governments, big companies, farmers, nonprofits, all at the same table, working together on a shared goal, like slashing food waste.
And the most effective partnerships all tend to follow this proven three-step framework: target, measure, and act. First, you set a really clear, ambitious goal. Then you agree on exactly how you're going to measure progress so you're all speaking the same language. And finally, you take action, together, all across the supply chain. It's a simple logic, but it's incredibly powerful.
And we absolutely know this works. Just look at the Cortical Commitment in the UK. By using this exact Target, Measure, Act model, they cut household food waste by 27% per person in just over a decade. That is huge. It's concrete proof that when we actually decide to collaborate, we can make real, measurable progress.
So we end right back at this fundamental question. After seeing all this, it becomes pretty clear that the old story, that there just isn't enough food to go around, is just not true. We have enough food. The challenge isn't one of scarcity. It's a problem of our systems of distribution, of waste, and of our priorities. And the good news about a systems problem, systems can be fixed.